Hi, my name is Lynda Clayton. I'm the creator and founder of Not One More, a mission to eliminate youth suicide. I started this project all the way back in May of 2020, and I finally wrapped it up last year. It was my Gold Award project for the Girl Scouts. So there are two routes of implementation for Not One More in a youth group or a school environment. The first of which is spontaneous incorporation. That would be when you have 5 to 15 minutes of downtime, or maybe your class is really stressed and everyone just needs to take a break. Those kinds of activities involve counting breathing, so there's an activity called square breathing in there, as well as something like butterfly hugs, where everyone can just take a second, do an activity that brings anxiety or stress in the area down. It involves no prior planning or materials or anything like that. The second route of incorporation is planned incorporation. So that is when you have a set amount of time throughout the week to do an activity from Not One More. So that could be maybe every Monday you take 15, 20 minutes to do an activity. Or if you're pressed for time, like in an AP classroom, you could do it every 5th Friday of the month, which only happens about 3 or 4 times a year. And during that time, you can set supplies and go a little bit more in depth with those activities. And that's when you learn more about how an activity is helpful. And that's when you can do more involved activities like reaching out into the community or planning a supper with supporters, something like that. Boundaries in general are important to have in mental health, and they're especially important in a mental health program. So every single activity in Not One More has tons of research behind it, and every single activity has a specific point that it gets across. For example, the activity Build a Boat. You're supposed to write anything that's stressing you out down on a piece of paper, fold it up, and then sail it into the trash can. And the benefit from Build a Boat is that you get rid of your stressors. Now, say you were to modify that activity and make it such that participants keep that piece of paper. Science shows that that actually has the opposite effect. So, of course, I wanted Not One More to be scalable to things such as resources, number of participants, time, money, etc. However, there needs to be an understanding that the boundary and the intention of each activity is kept. So oftentimes we think that we don't have the time to incorporate mental health activities or stuff that addresses mental health because we're too focused on curriculum-based activities. However, a lot of these activities are things that I've done while in school, in classrooms. For example, Make a Country is a great thing to teach geography because you can use different aspects of geography when students are making their own country. And that also it allows them to have a time for self-expression. There might be instances in which you can't work an activity into your curriculum, but the great thing about Not One More is that there's 30 plus activities to choose from. And even if some of them don't work into your curriculum, what's 5 or 10 minutes of talking about and reinforcing good mental health habits going to do for a child who may be struggling or a classroom that may be struggling? It is so incredibly important to make sure that your students are in a good mental space to be able to get their work done and to be able to communicate effectively and to build critical thinking skills and build emotional intelligence and learning in that way as well. More information on Not One More and its activities can be found at www.eliminatesuicide.com. Every PDF is free, downloadable, shareable, all of the above. So all it needs is someone to go onto that website, pick an activity, do it, share it, get the word out so that we can start taking a preventative approach to mental health instead of a reactive one.